Napoleon Bonaparte may have been the greatest ruler of his time, but that didn't save him from a swift surprise attack from an unlikely enemy. A colony of bunnies. The details of this strange historical tale vary depending on which sources you believe, but most agree on several key details. For starters, it happened over the summer of 1807, shortly after Napoleon signed a treaty to end the war between France and Russia. Naturally, Napoleon and his men were looking to party after their win, and what better way to celebrate as a 19th century emperor than hunting rabbits? So Bonaparte's men got to work setting it up. After a giant and of course decadent feast, Napoleon and his highest-ranking generals wiped their chins, adjusted their belts, and got ready for a good old rabbit hunt. Napoleon's chief of staff, a man by the name of Alexander Berthier, took it upon himself to collect an entire colony of rabbits for the men to track down. No one knows for sure how many rabbits he managed to scrounge up, but it was at least several hundred bunnies, and as many as 3,000 if you believe some sources. But even if you stick to the low estimates, that's still a ton of rabbits, caged, confused, and cooped up, that are about to be released into an open field. As our main man Napoleon made his way out onto the field, the bunnies were released from their cages, and the emperor's bunny hunt began. But right away, it was clear something was off. Those meek little bunnies didn't scurry off and hide. No, something got into those rabbits that day. They apparently decided, once and for all, to band together to take down Europe's most fearsome ruler. Or something like that. Whatever they were thinking, hundreds to thousands of fierce, fluffy bunnies were barreling down on Napoleon and his men with frightful speed. The whole thing seemed silly and cute to assembled soldiers who laughed and gawked at the goofy scene. But the closer the furious little bunnies got, the more it became clear this was a full-scale attack. The swarm of bunnies crashed against the French emperor like a sea of wild fluff, climbing up his legs and clinging onto his coat. Napoleon tried to fend them off, and his men set about chasing as many of them away as they could, but it was no use. That was just the first wave. Napoleon managed to retreat and found refuge inside a stagecoach, but the bunnies were determined and flanked the wagon as it attempted to flee. Luckily for Napoleon and the rest of France, their unshrinking emperor managed to retreat and outrun the oncoming onslaught of bunnies before they could take him and his finest generals down. And so ends the story of Napoleon Bonaparte's least known military defeat, that may also be his most humbling, or at least top 2.